Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on February 28th, 2022 at approximately 2:07 p.m. PST. Well, that was interesting. It's not like we don't have enough trouble in this world. Okay, I just got hit, and I know you guys have been hit with it as well. I just had a call come in. Now, I don't answer unknown calls, unknown phone numbers. Okay, I don't answer emails. I don't answer these things. If there is not some identifier that tells me who I'm dealing with, I don't answer. And I strongly recommend you don't. Now, just before starting to record, I had two situations. One came in through LinkedIn. Okay. Now, whoever sent this to me, if they pick this particular video up, great. But whoever sent it to me, and I know the name, I'm just not going to use it. Understand what they sent was an email to me stating that they had some crucial information for me. They came across my email and they had some crucial information. Right. Now the email, all it stated, that was it, aside from, I will send you some pictures of me once you confirm this email. Well, to say the least, I'm not answering the email. If you are trying to reach me, there's a whole list of ways of getting a hold of me. But the one consistency, and I suspect, as a matter of fact, I better make a note of that. I will do that. On the list of numbers, there's a whole pile of contact points. If you do not include something to indicate where you came across my name, okay, or what the purpose of the call or the email is, the odds are I will not respond to it. Okay, in all fairness, the odds are I won't answer, I won't open it. Okay, so make sure if you're trying to get in touch with me, you leave a subject. If you're texting, tell me who you are. Okay, if you're planning on phoning, drop me a text or drop me an email first, identifying who you are. Because if you don't, I will not be answering it in all likelihood. Once in a while, I answer one by accident. But, the reality is there are so many scammers out there. That was one email I got. Then I immediately turned away from that, and my cell phone rang. Well, it came from a city that I only ever knew one person that lived in. And that was some 30 years ago, maybe 40 now. I guess to be 40 years ago now, almost. Okay. And I just can't see that individual contacting me at this point. They might. But something told me that this was wrong. So I didn't even answer the phone. I didn't respond to it. I left it ring out. Okay. Then I checked the number coming in on the cell phone, and all I did was typed in on Google, I typed in scam, here's the phone number. The moment I did that, the first thing that came up was a gentleman in Vancouver had received the same call from that number. And it apparently is a brand new SIM scam. Okay, you answer that phone, they'll have your phone number like that. Okay, at which point they've got all your access points, the whole 9 yards, and you could be in serious trouble. So again, when we're talking about this issue of karmic law, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Okay, these scam artists are playing a very, very nasty game. Okay, and this is why I sit there and go, no, I'm not answering these. Okay, I strongly recommend you do not answer them. In my case, I let it ring out, then I went and checked, it came up scam, so it's a good thing I didn't answer it. Now, honestly, I'm not entirely certain how to deal with these, as far as how to block them. All I gotta do is phone my cell company and find out. Okay. There are programs, but frankly, the one that my phone company offers has frozen my computer so often I won't even put it on my computer. Never mind on my phone. To me, that just doesn't work well. See, I don't always drink coffee. That'd be Mountain Dew. Coffee, of course, is up front. I haven't gotten to it today yet. But where it comes to this issue of numbers that you don't recognize, anytime you get an email that says, here's a hot link, there's been a problem, hit this link to update your account. Do not. Absolutely, if you get an email like that, double check your online account. Whether it's Amazon, whether it's your bank, your cell phone, it doesn't matter. If you get a warning, absolutely go to your site, use your own access, do not hit the link on the emails. Okay, 9 times out of 10, links on emails, unless you know specifically who the person is that sent it. Okay, links from strangers or from professed companies. I remember getting one from my credit card asking me to update my account. But check the email of the incoming email. Check its source. When I looked at my credit card company, it said it was for my credit card company, very official looking email. But when I looked at where the email came from, the origin email wasn't from the company. It was from from another company altogether. Again, even if it looks official, double check what you're finding or what you're told. Because the reality of it is, there are so many scams out there. There is so much misinformation. Some people may say I'm being paranoid, which I probably am. But that's what happens when you come to find out that so many people are doing this. I'm pretty tempted to shut my email and my cell phone answering system down because I don't use the thing. All it does is drop email into it or drop phone messages that I never get around to answering. My cell phone, and probably yours, has a record of the calls that come in. If you recognize them, phone them back. If you don't, ignore them. Okay, and again, I came back to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to simply pass on a message to everyone in existence that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. But it's going to require everybody's assistance, or more to the point, virtually everybody's assistance. And with the number of scam artists that are out there, and in all fairness, it's probably only a few that are running multiple systems. Okay, but you cannot be too cautious. Well, technically you could be. There was a point where I actually had 4 virus scanners on one computer. Not a good idea, jam the computer. Find a computer system, find a virus scanner that you trust. Okay, and I'm not the one to tell you which one to trust. I will not speak for one over another. Okay, but find one you're comfortable with and utilize that one. Now, will it catch everything? Absolutely not. Okay, but will it at least stack the deck in your favor? The answer is yes. In my opinion, it will. But where it comes to certain things, okay, let's go back to the first issue. Okay, you get an email. We'll start with getting an email in. And no matter how official it looks, first thing you do is realize 2 factors. One, your provider is not going to send you a hot link to upgrade your account. They may send you a number, but you've gone on record theoretically, the head office number. So if they send you a number stating call this number, again, go to your records, double check your information. What number do you phone to? Are you supposed to phone for questions? Use that number, not check your own bill. Do not necessarily use the one on the email. Okay, when you get the email, you check that first. But don't forget, before you even get it, you take a look when the email comes in. Take a look at where it came from. make sure that the email that it came from matches the email company that is supposed to be sending it. If it doesn't, don't answer the email. Absolutely go back and double check with your sources, as in check your own records, look up the number you're supposed to use for contact, and contact the company directly. See if anything odd is going on. If the answer is no, you don't have a problem. If the answer is yes, deal with it. But now you've initiated the call to them. Okay, this is just one of the ways to protect yourself. Now again, if an email comes in that is coming to you, I had one reach out to me saying they had crucial information. Well, given that I don't talk to a whole lot of people, okay, as far as socially goes, the reality is when the person told me when this email said, I've got crucial information, if the police or my family aren't sending it, the odds are it's not that crucial. Okay, or of course my income tax, not provider, but the company that I use to get my income tax dealt with. If they send an email, I've got records on who they are. Do not utilize the links and or phone numbers that are on the email unless you can confirm on your own records that they match the one that you're supposed to be dealing with. If they don't match it, don't answer it. Don't phone it back. Don't send a return email or a return text. Okay. Technology is evolving very quickly. Unfortunately, human greed is outrunning it. Okay, and if you're responding to these things, you're setting yourself up for virus attacks, for hacking attacks, for identity theft, this sort of thing. And there are a staggering number of people that are doing this. Okay, so that's the one issue where it comes to email. Now, of course, if you know an email is a scam, okay, or is false, absolutely delete it right away and empty the trash bin. Okay, now I don't know how effective that is. It's just the only precaution I've got because wiping my hard drive just doesn't work well for me. Speaking of which, I've got to back up my account and my writing or my written work today. That's with regards to emails. Now, with regards to the same thing with regards to text messages. If you don't recognize the text message, do not respond to it. Totally ignore it. Just delete the thing and get it out of your way. If it's important, they'll try and get back to you again later. But again, if you're trying to get a hold of me, okay, whether it's a phone call, a text message, an email, it doesn't matter. If you're striving to get a hold of me, and one of the messages below this video, absolutely make sure you include who you are, okay, where you came across me, or how you came across my number, whether it's a friend of yours that came across it and referred you, or it is simply you came across it on one of the spots online. I have no idea how many I'm on. Okay. And if it's a message or something telling me it's a crucial message or a serious problem, the odds are, whether it's serious or not, I'm not answering it if I don't have something to work with. Now, you may consider that a little paranoid. I consider it prudent. Okay, so make sure that you do identify who you are and why you're contacting. Okay, if you don't, the odds are I'm not answering it. I've run into too many problems recently, especially, where this becomes a complication. So I just don't do it anymore. Okay, am I still doing the writing? Am I still looking and doing the consulting for people? Absolutely. Will I answer questions? Yes. But just telling me I've got a serious problem, I need your help right away, isn't necessarily going to get my attention. Okay, I'd love to say it will. But if it's not something I can work with, okay, it is safer for me economically and from a material standpoint. Because remember, karmic law number 1, you must be true to you first. Okay, now when I say if I don't get this information, the odds are I'm not responding, Okay, that is because if I'm contacting somebody, I will go, this is who I am, this is how I came across you, and this is why I'm contacting you. Okay, I do not deal in ambiguities as far as first contact goes. Now, I'm trying to work with a publishing company over in Europe. Okay, but I'm waiting for an email I'm waiting for confirmation that the email I sent them went to them. Even though I looked into the company and the company is, I believe if I recall correctly, the company is currently 15 years old and the website looks great, the whole 9 yards. But what they asked for, which was quite frankly they asked for a PDF file of my current book. Okay, now the email I'm waiting to get confirmed that it's right. Okay, I did check on the website. The website looks legitimate enough. The person that contacted me seems to be legitimate enough. But the reality is I'm not motivated by money. Okay, do I know I require it? Absolutely. Hence why I'm rebuilding my financial database. I'll be done doing that today. Okay, the critical factor of it is I've already sent off a text to them. I sent the email, and all I put on it was contact. First contact, this is who I am. I'm waiting for a return to verify the email's right. When I get that back, then I'll send the information. Now, I would love to send it off right away. Okay, but I've made the mistake of going, I've got to strike now. And there is a caution out there. I was looking into the scams, and there's a caution. If it's a time limited issue that you're being pressured into dealing with, you might have a problem. Okay, so from my end, I'm looking at it going, if it's time pressurized, then it's probably not the right step anyway. Because for me, I've jumped on the bandwagon because of excitement too often. Okay, maybe I've gotten a little cynical, maybe I'm a little paranoid, I don't know. But with the number of times I've seen it backfire by jumping on things, I cannot caution you enough. We've gotten into society's gotten to such a point. It's gotten to a point where it is literally looking at things and going, we desire immediate gratification. We've got to have it now. Buy now. Buy now. Get this deal if you buy now. I'm not doing it. Okay. From my standpoint, it does not make sense to do it. There are too many possibilities where things can go wrong. Therefore, in my opinion, take your time. Look at what you're aiming at. This is a long game, not a short game. Okay. Even when you're dealing with relationships, if there is pressure for you to do anything in a hurry, anything at all, okay, then you may be walking into a problem. Now, bear in mind, where it comes to relationships, I've been dealing with relationships for 48 years now, almost 49. Okay, emotions can get carried away. They can make you do real silly things, especially if somebody is saying all the right things. Okay, but if you're feeling pressured, you've got to have this done. There are certain things that deadlines apply to. Sale comes on at the grocery store or at the gas station, at the gas pump. There's a sale only for 2 days. You've got to buy it now. Okay, if you don't buy it now, the price goes back up. Things like this, you work with deadlines. Things like, if you're dating somebody and they turn around and go, well, yes, I want to move forward with this, but if you're not ready to move in within the month, then it's a no-go. Right there, you may want to take a step back and go, is this the relationship I'm looking for? Okay, the moment you're dealing with high-pressure sales, high-pressure communication, coercion, whatever you want to call it, take a step back. Yes, your heart is looking for something, but jumping in because you're on a time deadline, First and foremost, especially where relationships are concerned, love is not a good pressure gauge. Okay, but it is one that people use regularly. Same as if you're told that here's a deal for you. You know, I took a Hollywood contract. They sent me a contract and asked me, they wanted to tell my life story. Okay. Well, the reality of my life story is it is as twisted as it can get. My life story is more science fiction than it is reality. But when this Hollywood company contacted me, and I talked to them for a couple of weeks, okay, or at least to one person from that company, and when they sent me the contract for them to tell my life story, okay, without going into a whole lot of details, okay, what they did was in the contract they sent me, it told me that they could fictionalize, alter, modify, change whatever they pleased. It also said directly in it that they could breach the contract. Now, I still got a copy of this contract, but when I got that contract, I phoned the company back up and I said, okay, I'm hoping this was just a really big practical joke or simply a massive oversight. But I says, these two clauses have to come out or we don't have a deal. Okay. And the guy I'd been talking to had been being really upfront about it. He'd been working with me really well to make things work. And he says, well, let me just double check with my boss and see what I can do. And he come back on the phone and he goes, I'm sorry. My boss just says there's no way we're pulling those two clauses out. I says, well, there is no way I'm signing this contract. And then the individual I'd been talking to all along turned to company standpoint. And he goes, Mr. Andrews, I don't think you realize how much money you're giving up. And how much money this could be worth to you. I sat there and looked at him and I went, maybe not, but I do know one thing. I says, I'm absolutely certain that you have no clue how little I care about the amount of money I'm not getting. I don't have it now, so therefore not having it later. Not having it later is not going to bother me a whole lot. I've been struggling my whole life. So somebody waving a dollar bill in front of me and saying, this is really important. If you sign this absolutely ludicrous contract, that all of this money is yours. Okay, bear in mind, if you look at the extrapolation on that, they say they'll give me this amount of money, but they've also written into the contract they can breach it. Okay, which means I sign the contract, they've got all the freedom in the world, and I don't get paid a nickel. Another neat little sales concept that you gotta look at, especially for those of you that are buying a new car. Okay, and this is something I discovered, I was told when I was looking into it. That if you're buying a new car and they tell you no interest payments for 72 months or for 6 years, that's great. But what they don't tell you is they won't add any interest on. Okay, but if you don't pay that contract off, if you don't pay that amount of money off inside the 6 years, then all of the interest gets added onto it the day after the contract after that offer expires. Now, I'm not saying this is true for every company. What I am saying is if you're planning on buying a car on no interest for 4 to 6 years or whatever it is, the moment they say no interest, ask them point blank, like go in and talk to the company and ask the salesperson point blank, what happens if I don't get all of that money paid off by that 6-year mark? Okay.
Unknown caller.
Well, that's not being answered. Remember what I was just saying about an unknown caller? Okay. This one's coming out of Montreal, Quebec. And again, it does come with a name, but I have no idea who the chap is. So that phone you're hearing ring, I don't respond to them at all. Okay. It'll eventually wear itself out. So with that in mind, my apologies for the ringing. I knew it would die eventually. I'll go and check that afterwards and find out where that one came from. But the odds are I won't be dealing with it. But when I go to find out where it came from, I go on the email on the internet, and I literally on the Google website, I literally type scam. Here's the number. Okay. When I find that answer, when I get that information, I know what I'm dealing with. And one of these days, I got to get around to phoning because I use it. I use a cell phone, right? But I don't know how all the ins and outs of it work. But again, when you're just to tie off that thing, when you're leasing a vehicle or when you're buying a vehicle with no money with no interest payments, or furniture for that matter with no interest payments for X number of months, double check and find out what happens when you reach that deadline. How much, like, what happens to the interest? What I found out talking to one company was that if you don't pay that car off within that 6 years, on the first day after that contract expires, they turn around and add all the interest from the last 6 years up. And rest assured, that's going to be something fierce. There was another company I went to that was offering a loan. Now, this was a legal company. They did good, they did honor their contract. I'm not using their name anyway. But it worked out. Yeah, it was a short-term loan, but at 40%. Okay, when I got looking into the actual cost, 40% is not worth a short-term loan. Okay, it's just not. Now, having been bankrupt twice based on guidance from other people, it is strongly recommended that if you're on the verge of if you're having troubles and you think you're
Unknown caller.
I love these phones. If you're looking and running into problems with your money, okay, this is a prime indicator from my standpoint that this company that's phoning right now is likely a scam. Okay, because they're phoning back right away. And then they let it ring until whoever. I don't even touch them. Yes, it's annoying, and I'll apologize for that. Okay. The fact that they phone back twice right away, okay, does not make me happy, But, if you're having financial struggles, okay, do not go after short-term loans. Go and talk to your actual bank and see what they can do for you. Okay, because the odds are you'll get a much better interest rate. Okay, certainly below the 40%. Now, my understanding is the 40% interest is loan sharking. Whether it's legally written and legally permitted by the government or not does not matter to me. Okay, 40% does not give you the peace of mind you're thinking of. Okay, now, with that in mind, I will be back again tomorrow. My apologies for the phone. It's an annoyance for me. But if you're striving to get a hold of me, make certain text, email, or phone, doesn't matter. If I don't know the number, I'm not answering. If you send me a text or a message without identifying who you are, how you came across me, and what you're seeking, the odds are I'm not getting back to you anyway. Okay, that's just the way it is. But I will be back again tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, that came out well, for pity's sakes, stay positive